walk through it. Oh, thanks. Especially for the charter, getting people's input, offering different opportunities, maybe through the one-on-ones that you're going to be having, and then, or by email or however, and then having that ready, but focusing more on recruitment at this time, because since we are pretty sparse at this time. And I think also for buy-in and just for feeling that sense of belonging, and for sustainability for the committee to continue to show up, the new people, having them part of that finalization of the charter, I think would also be good. So I don't think it's a bad thing to hold off on the charter. I know there's things with deliverables and work plans, and maybe there's goals that you guys have that you're trying to meet. I understand that too, but just saying that's my 2 cents in terms of that, leaving the charter as a draft, getting some input from our current members, and really heavily focusing on recruitment and sharing any kind of links, materials, and doing your inside sharing, obviously through OHA channels, to just really heavily focus on recruitment. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, thanks, Carissa. So I think what I'm hearing, um, a couple of things around having some opportunities for members to kind of provide feedback with like follow up, or like via like email communication around in general, like charter language. And I think for today, I think a couple things that I wanted to, maybe accomplish or just kind of really like talk through is the charter in general, of using it as it is now in the draft sense for guiding kind of those principles of recruitment with the membership language and the decision making processes that are in the charter right now, but also keeping in mind that part of the charter is that it gets reviewed regularly, like, right, like every quarter we're checking in on the charter. So it's almost like a sense of, do members approve of the draft charter to help guide us for the interim until we review it again. So I think with the charter, it's not necessarily that like right, it doesn't have the language. I don't, this is just me personally with like communications, right? Is that we review language, especially when it's written down somewhere, because we want to take a temperature check of anything that's changed, right? Especially if we get new committee members and new perspectives, some of that language, might change over time. So I think that was kind of like, can we get an approval of the draft to kind of help guide us for the membership, especially if we're looking for, kind of more like specific, targeting our outreach for membership at this point in time. So I think kind of like those two things that I just wanted to address. We probably should get a sense of what our members, think about as far as, can we use this language to start getting recruitment documents and processes in place, but also keeping in mind that we're going to have opportunities for feedback and reviewing the charter. In there it says a quarterly basis. I think we're a little overdue, but trying to keep that back up as another, like you said, a deliverable. We're going to try to keep that fresh in people's minds, especially as it kind of just helps. The purpose is to kind of help guide the work. So I said a lot. I'm going to pause real quick in case anybody else has any other comments they'd like to share.
Yeah, I would just say, yep, it's a live document. That sounds good. Um, yeah. And I think, I know I definitely had reviewed it previously, and literally, I so I don't know if this recording's to be posted. I suppose it is, but I was just gonna say the edits that I was thinking of are literally like past tense and whatever. I'm not even that great at grammar, okay? But just saying, when I was reading it, I was like, just something totally. And I'm a very literal person, so just something like that, simple. I don't think it's any drastic change, but yeah, I agree with what you said, and I think it sounds great. And yeah, what else did you want to? Or I don't know if Shanae or Jessica had any thoughts.
I'll just give my thumbs up and say that out loud.
I was gonna say the same. I'm taking notes. So.
Thank you, Shanae, by the way, because I know that's not the fun part, but it gives you something more to do. But
all right, awesome. Well, if that's the case, then I would love to actually still kind of use the time to kind of just go over, especially with your knowledge, Carissa, kind of, just having, like you said, been with this process, you're probably a little bit more familiar with the charter and its intent and drafting and what it was meant to maybe look like than, than myself or Shanae. So I think I had a couple of really clarifying questions. And again, those are just really to kind of help guide the work as of right now. So I can go through the PowerPoint and kind of go through some of that, some of those goals if we want to continue to do that. Awesome, thank you for your thumbs up. I did not have this recorded yet. Oh, it is recording, never mind. Is it recording? Okay, thank you. I forgot to give the cue. So thank you for, for starting the recording. Okay, and I think, let's see here. So let me go back to sharing. I think it shared the whole screen, but I just want to do that. Okay. All right. PowerPoint up in its appropriate view for everybody. Thumbs up. Thank you. Okay. All right. So we already did our welcoming and our icebreaker question. Okay. So agenda, we can kind of really just kind of skim through this, already kind of clear. Oh, I guess actually I will not skim through public comment. Is there anything for the good of the order for public comment at this time?
I just have to do this. This is a joke. I just love, I mean, and it's not a joke though, because I just love these slides. So it's not really, it doesn't really count, you guys, but I just have to say, I love the upgraded slides, whoever made them. And yeah, beautiful pick.
Thank you. Yes, I stole these from another PowerPoint presentation, and I am biased and I love them, but I'm also sensitive or aware of feedback for other purposes that not all one presentation does not fit all perspectives, but thank you.
Yeah. And hey, I'm all about templates, so that's great. I don't know about, so yeah, for accessibility 504, you might want to check it, but
Thanks, Carissa. All right. Okay. So we're going to go into a couple more of those deeper questions of just about the charter language to really kind of talk about what some of these things look like. And then just go over some recruitment next steps. Hopefully we can get like some just some clarifying time steps of like maybe some recruitment needs and some time frames for goals for today. And then we'll probably close a little early since attendance is a little sparse. So we'll just move along. Okay, yep, goals. So just want to discuss and clarify membership, decision making, and our current membership. So that way we can establish any needed materials for this time to do our recruitment process and what maybe a review would look like. All right, so I took language directly from our draft charter, specifically in the membership and members section of the charter. So the charter states, let's see, the MHAC, the Mobile Health Advisory Committee, will be a 10 to 12 member committee consisting of individuals from priority populations, and public health and healthcare professionals. Greater than 50% of members with decision-making authority shall be members of priority populations. Members will be selected based on their ability and willingness to attend Mobile Health Advisory Committee sessions, lived experience, and subject matter expertise, and in a manner to ensure diversity of perspective and representation of the state. So I think, like, and as you're kind of saying, Carissa, like, I'm a really literal person too, and maybe like a little different context, but I want to just really know, what does that look like if we were to really kind of maybe lay that out in the charter, if we were to create seats, for an example. I think that's another example of, like, it's, I would say, relatively common in a lot of other committees, that they kind of identify seats for how many members that they have. And that's kind of, I see it as a, as a way to kind of really gain the perspective of who our members are. And that way we're also kind of keeping some type of tracking to ensure that we have at least 50% of our members with decision-making authority are members of priority populations. So with that, I have just a couple maybe of more guiding questions. Is, are members from priority, or from members from priority populations, are we at this time, are we looking for kind of like all the above? Can they be members of priority populations and have expertise from public health or healthcare professionals? Or are we really looking for community members with lived experience? So just kind of wanting to think about, who we have currently as what our current membership looks like. And with this language, are we really kind of looking at an either or and perspective when we're talking about the criteria? So I would, and maybe, like, specifically for you, Carissa, if that's something where you have, maybe some of that historical context of those conversations, and maybe that was something that came up, that would be great.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. And yeah, I would say all of the above. First of all, we want all of the above to be part of it, but also all of the above are part of it in a way. I think more so as like, I mean, for example, so I'm a white person, I'm a white woman, but I'm a person with a disability, I'm a person with lived and living experiences. So, and that includes having family members of different, so just the list goes on, right? Our intersectional identities. And I think right now, currently, that is one strength we have, is the people who are on it, even though there's a few of us. For example, Leslie is a Black woman who is a physician assistant. So she has that lived and living experience, and also as a healthcare provider. And then, and I have a master's in public health and primary healthcare and health disparities, and focus my career on health equity. So, and same with, Leslie, she started an organization and has focused, she's the one who really helped, get this bill passed and stuff, and focuses on anti-racism and anti-violence and things like that. So, and then, we have Ignolia. She's I believe Afro-Latina. I'm not sure. I don't mean to speak for people or identify them. They may identify differently, but as far as their social identity, from what I've picked up, and and she is a provider and gives wonderful input and feedback, and very, everyone participates. And then I know there's Varian, and I don't know too much about him, but I know, he has a lot of experience work. I don't think he's a provider necessarily, but coordinating all these things that are really boots on the ground work, helping underserved populations. And same with Agnolia, serving the Latinx community, migrant populations, and more. And just Leslie works in FQHC, I believe, or just so. And I've been on Medicaid. I mean, so at this point, like, we have a lot of intersectional identities that we bring to the table, but I think definitely, as you said in there, having making sure we're really thoughtful, and I think that's what Liza did and everyone else who was involved um in the initial recruitment. And of course, there's Christine, who's wonderful, but she's super busy too. She started a nonprofit and she's like on the moon at this point. I mean, she's taken off like into space. She's just like doing stuff, and she again is I believe identifies as a Black woman, or African American, and brings a lot to the table. She has a master's in social work. Just all the different things that we want. We got it, but we need more. We need more people, and we need definitely. I'm a big uh advocate for having people from the actual community, and I've worked in public health. I get how it is. A lot of times it's almost like, and I don't know, hopefully, because I mean, when I first started doing this work, it was like, no, we're not including community members. It's not happening. And I'm just like, what? How do you expect to change anything for the people most impacted if you're not including them in the solution? But okay, let's just do this work with our hands tied behind our back. But I'm hoping that's not the case for you guys. And I really hope we can make sure that actual community members, I know it's a hard thing to do. And, if we have to change meeting times or do whatever we got to do that, I think OHA should have the resources to do that. So yeah. And I think creating those seats, having those questions you have there are pretty like on point. And I think I again, all of this is my 2 cents, so take it or leave it. It's obviously my perspective, and that's why it's so important to have different perspectives. And so, but again, sharing this stuff through email or getting input from the other members in whatever way, again, maybe in the one-on-one meeting, doing that would be good. Yeah, I'll stop.
Thanks, Carissa. That was really helpful. I think maybe a follow-up question for that. From my digging around in materials and kind of sleuthing through all the information from previous rounds of recruitment and looking at the recruitment application, I didn't see specific questions such as like, what are your expertises, or specifically, do you identify as a member of a priority population? And I could be wrong, but I guess I'm just asking if that is something that oh yeah, go ahead, you're off mute.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I know for fact, myself, Magnolia, I believe maybe Leslie, and I'm not sure who else. We had these little work group meetings, with Liza and Joan, and we definitely came up with those questions. And there were several other questions included. So it exists.
Okay.
And if you're not able to find it or something, I believe I would probably be able to find it, hopefully. I usually save things if I was given access to it. It might have been actually something that we were just going over live with Liza and Microsoft Forms or one of those things. So I don't know if those are shared. But yeah, that was definitely something we worked on. Yeah, a few months ago, or I don't remember. Time flies. So
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's probably an action item for me. Kind of, let's maybe, and I'm just thinking of this for the notes, Shanae, looking at the work group specific folder to find application questions, recruitment questions, something along those lines. Just trying to think of a lot of keywords to kind of help us look for documents that could be named multiple things. And then maybe we can also reach out to Joan, since she is a neighbor, still with OHA. So still as a follow-up. Oh, go ahead, Jessica.
I say that a weird part about how all of our staffing has gone is I wasn't here when the first round of recruitment happened, but I was here for the process that Carissa was just describing. And so I do know we have recruitment files and applications that we have made. I just don't think those ones have ever actually been used yet. Carissa, does that match? You were here, so you would know better than I about what that first round
Yes.
looked like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. So, yeah, those were not, the second round of recruitment had not happened yet. But the materials, it was like ready to go, pretty much. It seemed like we came up with the questions, I believe, and yeah, gosh, I don't remember. I'd have to look. I can look at my folder when I get a chance, to see if I find anything else. But yeah, definitely those questions. And like I said, I think it was Microsoft Forms. And Jessica, yeah, it was while you were here, and so it sounds like you'd be able to access that.
Oh, everything but Microsoft Forms. So I'll dig for everything else. We must have a Word version of it as well.
Yeah, and Joan definitely is
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Great to have in your back pocket there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to go over notes. Oh, and then maybe Carissa, I think something that I had read in previous notes was around recruitment needs or processes to engage like community members. I think something that was identified was maybe putting flyers in like around like actual like in like grocery stores around the community. So just trying to think if that was again that perspective of trying to really really reach community members for this committee. Does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah, that's just one tactic I've used to get community members involved. It was more for like key informant interviews. So it is more like a one-off. But I think having a little flyer with just a few details, and I mean, it's not like reinventing the wheel. Of course, OHA has all these different committees, and I'm glad finally, I think the Health Equity Committee is working on getting all the committees to have some form of connection to, because, yeah, just to deduplicate work that's happening. So that's one, just again, my advice, like unsolicited advice, although I guess it is solicited. Finally, no, because I always have to give that disclaimer. But I think tapping into your colleagues, and I not to put it on Jessica, but maybe of a few people to connect her with or whatever. But there's definitely committees that are recruiting out there that have things that have probably worked that you could just, make beautiful, or, maybe it's already beautiful, and use that, tailor it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and in terms of places, I guess, yeah, just thinking about, and I can just say, because again, don't go off just me. Obviously, I know you're going to get more input. Just some sentiment I've heard before is, thinking about what it really looks like. Some people have mentioned involving community health workers. I'm for like the everyday person, literally. So if it's possible, if we can make it possible for them, there are people who are interested and have a lot to say and to contribute. And so places like, yeah, grocery stores, gas stations, even laundromats, really thinking outside the box.
Yeah, thanks, Carissa. Those are all really, yeah, and I hear you, totally valid as far as like, thinking about tapping into some of those existent, communication channels, especially around committees and and other colleagues that are doing this work as well. I just paused sharing this screen really quickly because I was having a hard time finding having the presented screen, but then also that view where you can see your notes. So I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
And yeah, if you guys don't mind if we end at 11, just because there is a webinar, that would be really helpful for me to go to at 11.
Yeah, that works for me. I think can you think of anything that I see that I saw the flyers for the recruitment flyers that were used last time, and I can show, I'll share the screen for that one just so I can verify that this is the most current one, especially if the work group was utilizing or was working on recruitment in general. So I just wanted to see, and I guess the question that I have is there anything like as far as a recruitment need, like in your perspective, Carissa, like if you were like, is there any materials that you would need to um, um, to go out and feel like you have what you need in order to like recruit or like post this flyer or suggestions to how this flyer can be either more, community driven or really speaking to spaces that you potentially that you would want to put the flyer in for recruitment.
Yeah, which now I remember. Okay, sorry, it's been a little while. Yeah, Liza worked really hard on this. Liza and Joan. I know for a fact, 'cause I remember specifically them talking about, getting this onto one page, obviously, and we all who have ever made a one pager, which is really a two pager, but is like, what? There are real one pagers. But because it's just so hard to fit everything on one page. And so that was definitely a big accomplishment for this flyer, just to shout out, Joan and Liza. But so obviously you guys, so that's the thing too, like just to not, if it can take something off your plate potentially, this did take a lot of work and time and effort, the one, and I don't know if it's been touched since, but I know just looking at it, I recall this flyer. I think definitely, in terms of like what I was saying, to do a type of the outreach I was mentioning, and I don't know, honestly, look, it's just me, I'm one person, I don't know everything, even though sometimes I think I do. Literally, I think a flyer for the type of outreach I'm mentioning for community members in these different places would be a different looking one, like somebody have fun in Canva. If I could do it, but obviously I spend too much time in Canva anyway. But something like that. But I think I know for OHA it's not that easy. You guys have to get things approved. It's not like you can. So I don't know, and maybe Jessica, that's something you'd know more about or could find out more, if we'd be allowed to, like, which I don't think we'd be able to, but like to make a little flyer. In my mind, I'm thinking, and maybe you guys can do it though. So in my mind, something easy with like a QR code. Maybe you could use a bit.ly link, a short link, to make it so that in case whatever, they could get it a different way. Putting a phone number, I don't know, because really that could be a huge leap. But I put a phone number, no one even called us. So it's just to give the different options, and an email address. And it seems scary. I mean, I don't know, because maybe you guys being OHA, maybe you will get a lot of people. But for me, we didn't get that many people. You would think, you're like, oh no, you're gonna have to turn people away. But no, it is like a kind of a broad outreach type of format of outreach, and you might get some people, which is good. And I don't think you'll get too many. But yeah, giving all the different options on just a little flyer hopefully would help. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll chime in to say there are many rules, but it is possible. I think a lot of folks don't do it because there's so many rules to follow that it's easy to mess it up. But we've been piloting things like QR codes and bit.lys, and no one stopped me last time. So
Yay,
happy
yeah.
to continue to support that kind of accessibility.
Yeah, yeah, and here's the thing. So I serve on other committees and other things, and that's sorry because my mind is just like sometimes I lose track of which one. But basically, I'm also thinking of who you could tap into, by the way. Certainly like the OHA community engagement team from the Office of Equity and Inclusion, you know, yeah, they create fun things for sure. Just thinking about who, and then and yeah, like external outreach materials where they at least maybe share from other organizations. So, but yeah, then just thinking too, um, yeah, I guess I'll just think more about it in terms of like if or let me know because I think we're gonna meet anyway, Jula. Um, I can start thinking about things like that, but hopefully this all helps.
Yes, no, it really does. I appreciate all of the historical context and kind of that validation of like, okay, let's go ahead and these materials get it more streamlined because it's already been done, but maybe here are a couple of like tweaks here and there that we can do. And I think from, even this conversation, it's more of that process of taking what we already have and then maybe putting it into a communications plan. And then we can share that at the next meeting.
Yeah, that's greatly put. And that's something I've had to learn how to organize our work, right? Like there's just so much to do. And I think, yeah, that's what it is. And really, like, look, this flyer, whatever the version was left after Liza and Joan worked with us, not only me, other people on the committee to finalize it. As far as I know, it was finalized. But again, go ahead, get other input. But I think like that flyer, don't throw it out. Like that's good for the different populations, right? So tailoring the communication to the different the three different main, the community member, the health professional and public health person, or whatever the different ones. And then of course even tailoring specifically for what we are looking for, right? I mean, so certain communities or whatever, maybe posting different flyers, some in Spanish, some with different pictures of people or, I mean, I don't know, that's weird, but just trying to reach our target populations and in rural areas and different parts of the state. I don't know if that's really possible because I know logistically, but yeah, in terms of that. And then, yeah, of course, getting it out through the different channels. So yeah, communication plan sounds perfect.
Oh, go ahead, Shanae, you came off mute.
Yes. So I know Carissa has to go, but I wanted to just talk some next steps. Well, one, we will obviously share this recording out with some minutes to the group. But if I heard you correctly, Carissa, you would like the opportunity to provide some additional feedback, perhaps in a document. And I think that's something that we can develop is a document and give space to ask the questions that Jula presented and share it out to all of the members to provide feedback, which they can submit via email, share in the one-on-ones that will be taking place over the next couple of weeks, it sounds like. And I think kind of compile it all together to bring back to the next meeting. Does that sound fair to everyone?
Yeah, that sounds great. And I know it's kind of like and it's almost like, because I don't mean to be like, oh, one more layer, but I think it's almost like that one last, like, here's the opportunity, like, just to clear up any, because I mean, I think we did already do it, but it has been some time, right? And to like give that opportunity. And again, maybe people won't have any feedback, but And again, that is just my opinion, but great summation of that, Shanae. Thank you. And thanks again for taking the notes. I know it's not fun.
Yes, and thank you. Yes, thank you, Shanae, and for notes, and thank you, Carissa. Thanks for hanging out with us and having a and having an individual or a personal work session with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I do better like with smaller groups and one-on-one. So, but yeah, thank you guys. I'll hop to that other thing and have a great rest of your day and great rest of your week. And looking forward to connect soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Carissa. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.